And that for me unlocked chipping and unlocked much better contact for my shots. In this video, we're going to cover 2 bread and butter chip shots that you can use reliably around the green to lower your scores. We're going to cover how to set up, how to actually hit the shot, and some drills that you can implement to try them out at home. The 2 kind of chips we're going to learn today are a back of the stance chip and a front of the stance chip. And I'm going to show you a way that you can hit both reliably to deal with different scenarios around the green. Let's first talk about why we get into trouble around the green blading or fatting or thinning wedge shots. A lot of the time it has to do with this tool that we have here, the wedge. When we play a wedge, a lot of the time we're gripping it down the end of the handle and hitting a full shot into the green. I think a lot of people fall into the trap of when they go to use this club around the green, they grip it again down by the handle and they get their hands a little low and the toe of the wedge off the ground. When the heel is down and the toe is off the ground, it interacts with the turf more because you're actually using the bounce of the club near the heel. In order to hit chip shots successfully around the green, we want to be a lot closer to it, almost the same distance away as you would be a putt. So the first setup change that we need to do is walk in a lot closer to the ball and grip the shaft down near the steel to raise the wedge up and get the toe into the ground. What that does is it will minimize turf interaction and allow the sole of the club to glide through the turf a lot easier. A good rule of thumb for how far away you want to be from the ball is to stand about 3 club heads, 1, 2, 3, away from the ball. Any more than that and the shaft starts to get a little low. So you want to be standing about 3 club heads away with your eyes almost over the ball, maybe just inside of the ball, very similar to a putting setup. Alright, let's look at this setup front on. Let's go through the low one and the high one. So they're very similar in setup. We start with the club shaft coming down the middle of the feet. And this is very similar to how I set up 2 iron shots, and I'll show that video up here. I like to just tuck this arm in, which squares my hips, and it also puts the grip of the club over the top of the ball. For the back of the stance chip, all I'm going to do then is flare my left foot out and my right foot stays in line with the ball, so the ball is actually off my right toe. From there, all I'm going to do is put my weight on the left, so much so that I'm able to lift this foot off the ground. One thing you need to make sure of, when you put your weight forward, don't put it forward in the hips. What that will do is it will drop your shoulders and increase the incline, and you might be bottoming out too early. You want to make sure that your weight, it's like your nose is shifting forward over this left pillar, over this left leg. Once again, to recap, club shaft up and down, flare out the front foot. I'm keeping my feet less than a club width apart as well, so keep them close. Weight forward, and then we're good to go. I'm not trying to add more shaft lean. My setup will take care of that automatically. And then we're good to go to hit a really nice crisp chip shot. So club head in the middle, square up my shoulders, left foot out, weight forward. And there's a low chip that checks, and then releases up to the hole, which is what we want. For the high one, it's a very similar setup, but with one little change. I start with the club down the middle of my feet again, but this time all I'm going to do is I'm going to step my right foot out a little bit and flare my left foot. So all I'm doing is separating my feet a little bit, keeping the left foot still and separating the right one. And that's keeping the ball more in line with my instep or my front toe. I still square my shoulders, I still put my weight forward, and you can see my hands are still over the ball and my weight's still forward and everything's still descending on the ball. For a high shot, you don't necessarily need your hands behind. The difference is the club shaft lean. If I go from a low shot to a high setup, the difference in the shaft angle alone, without me having to do anything different, is enough to launch the ball on a different trajectory with different spin. So from down the line for the high one, same setup, I flare the left foot, step the right foot back, and then it's just the same swing. It comes out a little higher, and you can see on that one how it's pulled up a lot quicker near the hole. Now that we know the setup, let's talk a little bit about how to actually hit the shot and the action that we use. Hands wise, they're very passive hands. It's very much rocking the shoulders like a putt with one little change. What you really want to be careful of is not adding any more attack angle into the ball. Our setup is already weight forward, handle forward. Our setup automatically gets the club working the correct amount up and down. The last thing you want to do is add to that by picking the club up, because if you're going to hit a chunk or a thin by coming down onto the ball or coming down too steep, that's when you get the chunk behind the ball, you get a flyer, or you just chunk it and it goes nowhere. So to avoid that, we do want to almost hit these like a putt. I always say as soon as I start hitting my chips with the same conviction as I hit putts, the golf course is in trouble. What we want to do is when we're hitting these shots, rock the shoulders back, and what's really important is that the club head stays outside my hands. So my hands will be moving back down or slightly in, but the club is always outside. Never work the club head in. That will give you all sorts of issues I'm not going to get into today. So as you turn the shoulders, just upper body back, club head stays outside the hands. Then on the way through, you could just rock the shoulders through as well. However, I find that I need help opening up my chest. When I just rock the shoulders, it's a good action, but sometimes I get a little bit yippy with it. For me, the best technique that I've found that works really well is to take it back with the shoulders and then feel like my hand sticks to this right pocket, and then I come through with the hips. And when I release my hips through the ball, hips open up the chest, which opens up my body towards the target, and it keeps my hands really passive through the shot. If I show you this from front on, it's just shoulders back to here, and then hips and hands together around to the left. And that for me unlocked chipping and unlocked much better contact for my shots. So same setup cues, back with the shoulders and then through with the hip. Same thing for the high chip, back with the shoulders, through with the hip. Almost in. Okay, let's talk about practical drill solutions. My favorite drill, the towel drill for chipping. One end of the towel goes under the armpit, so you're pinching it between your tricep and your chest, and the other end under the other armpit. What this does is it locks your arms in, so if you're lifting your arms up at all, it's going to be falling out. And this provides an awesome feeling of connection through the swing and it keeps you connected for the actual swing itself. So with this tower drill in place, you can do all the setup procedures, and you just feel like if you're picking it up, you'll lose the towel. And if you pinch it in too hard, it will come out of the lead armpit like that. So this drill is a lifesaver. So in nice and close, 1, 2, 3 away, square my shoulders, get my stance right, and then I just feel like my hands go dead soft. Another reason I love this drill is that you want to have any pressure, put pressure here in your upper body and let your hands just relax. I feel like I'm holding this club at about a 2 and then just turn. And the quality of strike that you get on the ball will increase dramatically with this drill. Okay, the next drill I have for you here is one that I came up with in my journey to better chipping, and I don't really have a name for this one, but it guarantees an in-to-in path, and you'll see what I mean. So first things first, I have one alignment stick, or you can use a club with a grip behind the ball down the target line. Now this is great for a couple of reasons. One, it's alignment, and two, the closer that you put this to the ball, it's a little bit of an aid to help you with attack angle. Because if you come in too shallow, you'll be hitting the alignment stick. So it encourages you to keep nice and steep with the club to avoid that stick. The second reason it's good is because, like I said, it's alignment. A lot of the times I like to open the face of my club, which can look disorientating. If I open the face of my club, it looks like I'm trying to swing out there, and then I might try to do that. So having the straight line there reminds me of where a straight line to my target is. I have two other alignment sticks in the ground, about a club width apart, down just outside the target line of my ball. These are here because one of the biggest things you can get wrong in chipping is your club path. If we come too far into out, we can be bellying the club. And if I go too far into out, I'm going to hit this stick. On the same note, just like I said in the last section, if I'm coming too steep, I can be chopping at the ball. And that's why this stick's here, because if I take the club out too steep, I'll be hitting that one there as well. So what this encourages me to do is take the club in. So remember, I'm keeping my hands in and the club head out. That's the third reason why the stick is here, because it allows me to track that stick with my club head in on the backswing, and then I don't want to be going out. I also want to be coming in on the way through. So if I'm chipping well, I'm missing both of these sticks and swinging in an arc around my body. So the way that looks is I just do my normal setup with my chipping, and I want to make sure that I'm coming in, keeping the club head outside my hands, trying to get that club head either going down the line or just inside. And then I'm also want to make sure that I'm turning this hip and coming, there we go, and coming through in. If I'm coming through too shallow, then I'm going to be hitting the ball after the ground, so hitting the ground before the ball. So I want to really make sure that my club path is correct, in to in, and that gets a really good contact on the ball and produces a really consistent strike. You can tie these two drills together with the towel under the armpits as well if you like. This works as well for the high one. Okay, so a little bit of feedback there. I've nicked this rod and I've kind of like sprayed it out to the right there a little bit. So I'll try and fix that on the next one. Swing a little bit more in to in. Much better. So instant feedback if you hit a bad one, which is really, really valued. The last drill I have for you today is a really simple one, but it's a really good one. And that's simply making sure that our weight is on the left. If I'm sliding these hips forward, the bad thing to do, and I lift this foot off the ground, I'm going to go backwards. So to make sure that I'm transferring my weight properly, I should be able to lift this foot off the ground. So this last chip is the one-footed drill. And to make it practical, we can set up, weight forward, and then take this foot off and just tap the toe on the ground behind you and hit chip shots like that. And it just ensures that your weight is forward and that you're getting that proper weight shift ready to hit some good chip shots. Bit short maybe. Not far enough right, but it's a good distance.
Nice one, Benjamin. Get in.
Okay, we have a pretty solid understanding now of a low shot and a high shot to get you around certain situations around the green. Now, you can use these if for the low one, play it even further back in your stance off the back of your right foot. You can close the face down a little bit to make it really roll out. Same with the high one. You can open the face a little more and get a little bit more loft in it. But after a certain point, you're gonna have to do some major changes to get the ball really coming in soft. Now I'm in a short-sided position here with the pin up high. So I want to show you a really easy shot to get the ball going up using the exact same technique that we've been practicing. So a lot of people, when they see this shot, they want to hit something like this with the handle low, weight, feet wide open, handle really down low, and kind of like a big loose swing like that to hit a big high flop shot. And that shot is fun, but is it reliable? I've developed a little bit of a shot here that can help us in this situation, especially when you might not have a good lie out of the rough, and if you can't spin the ball, you need to use height to land the ball softly. And that's where this shot can come in clutch. So I've got a shot here. I'm going to show you how I set up to this one. Very similar, but I'm going to move my hand maybe halfway down the grip. I'm still not holding it right down the end. I'm not holding it on the steel. I'm holding it maybe an inch in the middle. That's so I can lower the handle just a little bit here for this one. So I'm still relatively close to the ball. Same setup, same everything, but for this one, what I'm going to do is, instead of moving my left foot out or my right foot out, got that backwards, left then right. I'm going to just open my body right up like this, keeping it in line with my front foot, and then square my shoulders and really open that face so that the toe is almost into the ground. So the back of the club, this part of the toe is really touching the ground. So once again, I'm gonna flare the face, open my body, and then square the shoulders, and you can see that's actually sitting flat. From there, what I'm going to be doing, I'm still chipping this the exact same way, just slightly in, club outside the hands, and then with the hip around to the left. So in to in, and really trying to still hit the ball first, because my handle is still actually over the ball. So I'm going to try and hit the ball first. I'm usually going to hit just behind or just underneath the ball, but I'm trying to hit ball first. That's the feel. So it's the exact same feel as before, just like a normal chip. And you can see how high and soft that ball lands. And because the face is wide open, it's not going to dig a whole lot. So you can be quite aggressive into the hill and into the ball. Let's say you've got a lie in the rough as well, where you can't really get club on the ball and there's a bunch of grass in between. Same sort of thing. It just pops the ball up using loft rather than spin to get yourself out of these trickier situations. Hopefully those drills, setup procedures and shots you can try at home. Let me know how you go in the comments below. Let me know if you have a different chipping technique to this. Maybe you use a little bit more hands. Maybe you don't like using the leading edge as much, and that's totally cool. Everyone is different, but I'm hoping that those tips will help you be able to get around the course and save these little shots and turn them from guaranteed bogeys to almost birdies. Woo! That's how you hit it off basically car path. High toe, really pick it up. See ya.